You'll be happy to know that I'm not in my pajamas today. In fact, I'm still in my church clothes. Woohoo! Um, now we are discussing Chapter 4 of your Jenney's First Year Latin. Um, this chapter should say second declension masculine because Chapter 5 is second declension neuter, so it is not discussing all second declension nouns. I have on my board the endings for second declension and the way I want you to write it in the paradigm. So, here we go. In the nominative singular, the ending is us. Genitive singular is I. Dative singular is o. Accusative singular is Ablative singular is o. They both should have long marks, but it's not as important as the long a for the ablative and first declension. Okay, and then the nominative plural ends in I. The nominative genitive ends in ORUM. The dative plural ends in ISE. The accusative plural ends in OS. And the ablative ends in long IS. Now for the sixth case, which we're not doing in our paradigm, but we are still learning the vocative. I want to put that up. This is kind of difficult. I do it the exact opposite, I think. Okay, in almost all instances, the vocative is the same as the nominative, except in the case of second declension masculine singular. U.S. nouns end in E for vocative. So you need to know that. EUS, IUS, and then I for vocative. For example, e.g. is Latin for exempli gratia, which means for example. Mi fili, which means my son. So that's one of the vocabulary words, filius, son. Now, I'm going to leave this up for a second for you to write down the endings, US, I, O, UM, O, I, Orium, East, Os, East. Again, write down the vocative, US ends in E, and EUS or IUS ends in I for vocative. And that is what you need to know for the second declension masculine. Now, in your book on page 19, we'll be going over the vocabulary. First, we'll talk about the syntax. We're talking about genitive. They say genitive of possession, but that's basically all you do with genitive. So, genitive shows possession, the farmer's field, the field of the farmer. So you will put the farmer in the genitive case as you learn in the first chapter, that's AE. Now we're going over the vocabulary. Ager, agri, masculine field, agriculture. Amicus, amici, masculine friend. The derivative from ager would be agriculture. As we talked about agricula, agricula is part of two words, which is ager, field, and colo, to cultivate, which is where you get agriculture, and those are both derivatives. Amicus, amici, you get amicable from that. Anus, ani, year, annual, it happens every year. Campus, campi, masculine field. So when you go to a college campus, it's the college still. Think about that. I'm not making you learn dea, skipping it. I know what you think about that. Deus, dei, masculine God. And we're going to use that in our substitute reading today. And I will write that on the board, and you're going to need to look up words and figure out what that reading means. So Deus, and we get from that deity, which is talking about God, a more complex word. Equus, equi, masculine horse. Your derivative there is equine. Remember, in your notebook, you're not only writing the endings that I'm putting on the board. Anything I put on the board, you write. And you're writing down the vocabulary and the derivatives I'm mentioning in the video. I'm not just saying this for my help. Philia, filii, daughter. Filius, filii, masculine, son. You write down the vocabulary exactly as it is in the book, unless I say otherwise. As I've been telling you in the other videos, I want you to write all 4 principal parts of the verb so you can start learning them and already have them memorized before they make you go back and memorize them. Filial, like you have a filial connection, F-I-L-I-A-L, is a derivative. Gladius, gladi, masculine, sword. Legatus, legati, masculine, envoy, lieutenant. Ludus, ludi, masculine, game. Nuntius, nunti, messenger, masculine. Puer, pueri, masculine, boy. And as you're still 17, you're a puer. And this is also a second declension noun. I wrote in the endings US. That is a normal ending, but R is also an ending, and you just need to learn US for your chart, though. Serus, seri, masculine slave. You get servant from that. Where, we, masculine man, husband. And those are the words you need to learn from that. Read the word study. If you have any question about it, it's discussing ludus and where. There are some nice pictures of Roman ruins on page 22. There's Hadrian's Villa at Tibur, and then there's an island retreat of Hadrian's also below that. I want you to do the exercises. The reading lesson is going to be altered. Basically, page 23, I just want you to do the reading lesson about the attack on the farmhouse, but I want you to stop at puer and siwa non in wila est. I don't want you to read what the puella says next, what the girl says next. I want you to mark that out in your book. I know that's against your faith, and I don't want to disturb that. I know how that might be altering, so just cross that out. Other people who might come across these videos, go ahead and read that. But for the purpose of who these videos were made, just stop at puer and sidra non in wila est. Don't read the last sentence. Just leave it at that, and you can learn about the attack on the farmhouse without having to read the final sentence. The next thing is chapter 5, so this is actually chapter 4 and 5. Chapter 5 is the vocabulary drill on A. From the vocabulary you have learned and written in your notebook, they want you to give the genitive, the second part that you learn in your vocabulary, the gender and meaning of all the nouns. So you will write those down and try to learn them. This is indicating that there is a unit test, and you need to learn that. Then you need to give the meaning of the following verbs in B, but you need to go further because I've taught you all 4 principal parts, so you need to do that as well. Now, C, I need you to give the meaning of the following verbs, and I want you to also do the drill forms to translate. The C tells you to conjugate. A is decline, nata, legatus, and filius in singular and plural. So I do want you to write the vocative singular of legatus and filius. As you've learned, they are different from the nominative. I want you to conjugate the present tense of pugno, translate the following verb forms. This is a lot of work. You can take 2 days for the review, writing out the review and doing the exercises. I don't expect you to do this in 1 day because I know it might take you a while, and I want to go over it with you before you have your unit test, and we will discuss it, and you will have your unit test after that. And in the meantime, if you have any questions regarding the review on pages 24 and 25, I would like you to text me or call me. And another thing on top of it is Spirat primo fortuna laberat. This is fortune smiles upon our first effort. It's a pretty good quote to just show you that you need to show effort and try to do your best. I have a quote that I'm going to give you next time. That's my favorite quote about God. That's not in the Bible, that one of the ancient Romans wrote, and I will share that with you at the next video. In the meantime, wale, and again, call or text me if you have any problems. I don't want you to just struggle. I want you to ask me so you can learn this and together be able to proceed. Wale, and until next